Hey, welcome back to We Be Kids again. My name's Danny. I'm one of the founders at We Be Kids and a storyteller and an outdoor educator. If this is your first time at We Be Kids, you should check out our website, webekids.net. There you'll find over 250 resources, videos just like this that help you get out into nature and improve your well-being. Today, I've come up into the woods to tell you a story. Now, this story is from this excellent book called Why the Moon Travels. I've been reading the stories in this for about 6 months or so, and there are some absolutely wonderful tales. They're all stories from the Irish travelling community. And the story that I'm going to tell you today is called Where the Stars Come From. And it's quite a topical time for this story. We're just entering into autumn. And as we go into autumn, we start with the shorter days. And when we have the shorter days, some people don't like that. But in our house, in our family, we welcome the shorter days because it means we don't have to wait so long into the night to go out and look at the stars. And normally about this time of year, following our evening meal, we put on our shoes and we walk over the hill and we look at the stars and the moon. So this story is from a small village in Ireland. And in this small village in Ireland, there lived a man with a very large family. But he didn't have any land, and he didn't have lots of work. But he was a very, very, very skilled man. He was a great farmer. He was a great communicator. He was a great craftsman. But for some reason, whenever work came his way, it seemed to disappear. But he continued to look for work. He went high and low and he knocked on the doors of his neighbours, always asking, is there anything I can do for you? And on this day, he knocked on the door of an elderly lady. And she came to the door. He said, is there anything I can do? Do you need any crafts making, your roof thatching, your garden tending to, anything at all? And the lady turned him away. She said, no, there is nothing. But as he turned to walk away, she called him back. She said, if you head up to the great loch on the hill, there is a fish. And if you catch that fish, it will give you enough flesh for the rest of your life and feed you and all of your family. So the man thanked the lady and he turned and he walked off. And immediately it started to play on his mind. How big could this fish be? If he did catch it, how would he store it? But he decided the first thing to do was to head up to the lake. And he hired a boat. And before he left, he took a long piece of willow and a piece of twine. And he fashioned a hook out of an old hawthorn thorn. And he tied it on to the twine and he put it in the boat and he took it up to the loch. And there he put the boat out into the water and he began to paddle. When he got out into the deep water, he cast his line and he waited. He waited 1 day. He waited 2 days. 3 days went by, 4, 5, 6, and on the 7th day, whilst he was lay there in his boat, trying his best to keep his eyes open, the line began to shudder. He jumped up. He looked across. Something had taken the hook. He began to draw the fish in, pulling on the twine, but the fish fought. It went deeper and the man pulled, and he went deeper and the man pulled until the fish was exhausted. And the man drew it into the boat. But as he lifted the fish over the side of the boat and it landed, something happened. The fish began to swell in size. And not swell as if it was filling with air, but swell solidly, as if it was filling with sand and stone. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger, so big that it started to tilt the boat. The man looked, he was a long way from shore. He was worried that it was going to sink the boat. And as he worried, it got bigger and bigger. The boat started to sink and the water started to come in. There was nothing he could do but throw the fish overboard. So with all of his might, he lifted it and he threw it overboard. And as it landed in the water, the fish returned to its size and swam off. But as it went over the edge of the board, something happened. One of the fish's eyes fell out. And it was still in the boat. And it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like a football, then a basketball, and like a huge boulder. The man started to call for help to the houses on the edge of the lake, and he began to paddle as quick as he could. And by the time he got it back, the eye was huge. He shouted to the people to come and help him. And all the people ran and they saw this eye getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They didn't know what to do with it. They all began to worry. Somebody said, let's take it up onto the top of the hills and there we will leave it. And some agreed and they began to roll it. But as they rolled it, some people's minds began to tick over. They said, we can't, look, it's continuing to grow. It's getting bigger and bigger. If we take it up there, it will fill the valleys. It will crush our houses. Somebody said, let's make a great fire and let's burn the eye. Yeah, people said, build a fire. But others said, no. If you build a fire and the eye gets bigger and bigger and bigger, maybe it will ignite. Maybe great fires will spread, or maybe it will explode. And the goo of the eye will cover the whole of the village. So they agreed that they couldn't set it on fire. Then somebody said, all that we can do is work together, all of us, pick it up and with all of our might, throw it as far into the sky as possible. So they agreed. And together they all got underneath the eye. And with all of their might, they leant back, they bent their knees, and after three, they thrust the great eye up into the sky. And there it stayed. But up in the sky was very, very, very cold. And the eye froze solid. And the people stood back. To begin with, they admired it. It looked like a beautiful second moon up in the sky. But then dread started to run through the group. Somebody said, we can't leave it up there, look. It's getting bigger and bigger still. What if it blocks out the sun? Then none of our crops will grow. We can't leave it up there. And somebody said, we must dismantle the eye. And they all agreed. They all ran back to their houses and they returned with pots and pans and boots and sticks and stones and anything that they could carry. They ran to the top of the tallest hill and from there they began to pelt the eye with all of their instruments. As it was hit by a boot, a little fragment came off and drifted into the sky. A rock hit it and more came off. A pan lid hit it, a pan hit it, another shoe hit it. And as they threw these items, the eye began to break up into small fragments of dust. And the dust was blown across the sky. And when they had finished, the entire eye was gone. And all of its tiny fragments filled the night sky, twinkling down, filling our hearts with gratitude at the beauty of the stars. So I hope you enjoyed that little tale, how the stars came to be. When I first heard that tale, I wondered where it was going with the fish and the fish eye. But I think it's a lovely little ending where everybody comes together and creates the stars in the sky. So I hope this autumn and into the winter you're able to get out and enjoy the stars too. We certainly will be. Okay, hope you have a good day. See you again soon. Bye.